Welcome, everyone, to another episode of All Consuming Podcast. Today, we're going to do something that we haven't done before. We're going to cover a band that we've already covered.
Oh, so we have done it before.
Yeah, I mean, we've never done the same band twice.
That's right. That's true.
So today, we're going to do Children of the Great Extinction. We put a vote up on Instagram because we couldn't decide which one we wanted to do.
Yep.
Which, by the way, I should tell you some of the others we got. So, we said, should we do Norma Jean, Becoming the Archetype, or Other? We got a lot of people that were like, Other, and just tons of bands, right?
So what were some of the bands, if you can remember off the top of your head?
So one person wanted us to do Eulogies, and I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't done a Wolves at the Gate episode.
Haven't. Yeah, that's bad, dude. And we call ourselves a Christian podcast.
Yep.
Or Christians that are in a podcast, excuse me.
Yeah. The other one was... they have that album called Struggle Well.
Yeah.
Mouth of the South.
Yeah, Mouth of the South.
So that was one of them. In fact, I think Those Who Fear was one as well.
So they want us to go back and keep doing oldies.
Well, but Eulogies is new.
True. Then this is brand spanking new.
Yeah, this is very fresh. So yeah, obviously this one won by a landslide. A lot of people voted for this album. And even on our Discord, we've gotten a lot of people that just think it's top-notch, best thing ever, album of the year. I am one of them. A lot of people are placing it top 1 or 2 of all of Becoming the Archetype, right? Their whole discography. Yeah. Which I would too, first or second with Dichotomy. But I know that there's some people on Discord and even on this chat that don't know how they feel yet.
Are you speaking for me?
Well, let me check the list of people on the call.
I'm okay. So let's be real here. Like, I've listened to the album probably now 10 times. Okay. And every time I listen to it, my feelings change about songs. Some for the better, some for the worse, whatever. But I'm just trying to figure out if this is going to be like Dichotomy for me, to where Gary showed me Dichotomy, like back in the day in college,
25 years ago.
And I was like, get out of town. This is disgusting. I need more metalcore with high-pitched screaming.
in an
actual not good way. I need more high-pitched screaming and breakdowns with electronic stuff, like at that moment in my life.
Sure.
And then we went back and we did an episode on it, and I listened to it over again.
I had to force you on that too.
You did.
I don't know. And I was like, Tyler, it's really good. Let's just do it. Let's just do it.
And I listened to it a bunch of times, and I'm like, oh my goodness, Becoming the Archetype is legit. And I love that album now, and I still do. Like, I was listening to this over and over, Children of the Great Extinction, and I kept wanting to just, after it was over, like, on Spotify, it plays a different song, like, on their, radio. Becoming the Archetype radio, it turns into that,
Yeah.
And Ransom came on, and I was like, oh, yeah.
This is such a good song.
I can listen to this on repeat a few times instead of going back to track 1 and doing my notes.
Maybe it takes 10 years.
It shouldn't, though. If I like Dichotomy now and I like Becoming the Archetype, I should probably like this.
So do you think that this album sounds more like Dichotomy than anything else they've done?
There are songs that sound a lot like Dichotomy on here.
Yeah, I think there's parts of most songs that it's like, that's from Dichotomy. Then another part, it's like, that's Terminate Damnation.
Sure. Yeah, no, I totally feel you on that. And I think for me, like, the songs that I wrote are like, sounds like Dichotomy, are some of my favorites.
Yeah.
Obviously.
So this album is a concept album, which means that every song tells a piece of the story. Right, so the whole album is like this sci-fi allegory. I won't say what the allegory is right now.
Right.
It's Jesus. And to me, like, listening to this, I really felt... so, like, when I listened to it while I was working, I thought, like, this is good music. I like that part. I like that line. But when I sat down and, like, paid attention to each song and, like, knew what was happening, I started to really like some songs that I didn't really care for before.
Sure.
And then other songs I'm like, I liked not knowing the lyrics as much or what it was about or whatever, but we'll get to that when we cover them. But to me, this is like, I feel like I'm listening to a movie and it's like a symphony of metal. And
Yes,
I feel like
yeah.
every song is like supposed to make you move and feel, and like if you close your eyes, you can picture scenes in your head, kind of thing, like with the music.
Sure, absolutely, you absolutely can, yeah.
But to me, I don't think there's a perfect song, but I think it's a perfect album.
Yo, how is that possible?
Like I don't, just because to me the whole thing should be one song, because it's a story from beginning to end. The whole thing encapsulates. Now when I just listen to a random song, like it just randomly pops up on a playlist or something,
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, this is like right in the middle of the story,
sure.
and now it's not a single encapsulated song.
It feels weird being taken out of its spot.
Yeah, like I don't know. There's some albums where like if it's on shuffle and it just randomly pops in, I'm like, no. We have to listen to the whole album, not just this song.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of those albums where I think if I want to listen to this, I'm going to listen to the whole thing, not just The Answer or, The Lost Colony.
Sure, yeah. I get it. I get it, but like that's not how I listen to music.
I know.
And that's the hardest part.
You're the guy that pays 99 cents for that one song off that one album, and you throw away the rest.
Okay, I used to do that. I don't pay for single songs anymore. I have Spotify,
right,
dude.
Right. Sorry, you're the one that moves one song to a playlist.
Dude, I kid you not. Talking about how Spotify works, and they play like the random playlist of artists like that. I'll listen to Become the Archetype or whatever I'm listening to, and I will fast forward to that last song on the album just to get like a mix of new artists that sound like it. Like that's how I listen.
You're a monster.
I know I'm a monster, but it's just who I am.
You could always say,
I'm a shuffle guy.
You just need to say, hey, Gary, what you been listening to? And I'll send you some stuff. I got all kinds of things.
And I'll add one song to my playlist and shuffle the poop
and you'll be like, it all sucks, Gary, and I only listen to one of them anyway.
No, I would never say that. Out loud.
Hilarious. So let's move on. So another thing I wanted to point out is the lineup of this, right? So this is now a 3-piece band.
Right.
It's got Jason Wisdom back running the vocals, doing the bass, which I think is amazing. I was very upset when he left for I Am, for the I Am album, he wasn't on it. And they also got Brent Duckett back on drums, and Seth Heckox. His last name is so hard to say. Yeah, and he's in there, and I think now that I know like what roles he's played, I think he's probably my favorite part about Becoming the Archetype.
Yeah, he seems to be like what makes Becoming the Archetype. This is weird, but it's what makes them. Yeah. Right? Like all the weird things they do, the different things that make them unique.
Yeah, like the eerie music and the keys and stuff. Yeah, like it's like, whoa, there's that sound.
There's a lot of clean vocals on this album, Gary.
I noticed that.
A lot.
The singles I felt like didn't really let you feel how much clean vocals there were, but we'll get to those, I guess.
Okay.
The other cool thing is their producer is Nate Washburn. Mm-hmm. And you're like, who's Nate Washburn?
Yeah, never heard of him.
So, do you know the band My Epic?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's their guitarist.
Oh, really?
Which is cool.
That's really cool.
So, yeah. I guess with that, unless you have anything else you want to say before we get started.
No, I'm just so worried that like I'm gonna like be walking on eggshells not to like get anyone upset if I say one bad thing about Come the Archetype. They're like, that's it. He's off the podcast. Never listening to him again. So
I worry for you too, because I'm one of those people.
So I'm gonna try to be like, just say why I feel the way I do, and there's in no part of me that says this is bad.
All right, here's what I'll do.
Okay.
I will convince you that this is a great album.
By the end of this podcast.
In the next hour and some odd minutes.
Okay.
I hope that at the end of this you'll say, okay, Gary, I'll give it another try, or I'll listen to it with a different ear or something like that. We'll see.
All right.
Or I'll just straight up convince you, yeah, I don't like it.
Well, then should we just like jump into the first track?
Yeah, but before we do, I want to mention something that Jason mentioned about these songs, and
Yeah.
I thought was interesting, and it gave a better perspective, I think, of the lineup of the songs.
Okay.
There's actually 3 chapters, or 4 chapters, I'll say, of each song. And so the first 3 songs are a chapter called Shadows of Separation. So that's one big section of the story. And you'll kind of notice a theme of those 3. And then the second chapter is 4 through 6. It's called Dimensions of Deliverance. Right. And then the third chapter is track 7, 8, 9, which is Echoes of Extinction. And chapter 4 is just the last song because it's long.
It's only 8.5 minutes, dude.
Yeah. And it's called Rumors of Resurrection. Oh. Neato, huh?
Oh.
But anyway, I stole that from his Facebook post.
That's cool.
And with that, I think we should jump in
to chapter 1, track 1.
The Dead World.
All right.
I like this long intro.
Yes.
If it was a track on its own, I would say that it's a minute too long. But I think it's a great way to start telling a story.
Yeah.
Right? It gets you into a mind place sonically in your head. Like, okay, these are the keys they're using. These are the instruments that are being used. Like, you kind of like get your footing, I guess. But I really like, I didn't notice it until like probably my 20th listen. But in the background, like really quietly, there's like these really high pitch, really quiet keys that are played. And, you know, eventually when the chorus comes in, they're like in your face.
Yeah.
And my other thought is, I really like the clean vocals.
Really? Okay.
Do you?
I mean, I do, right? I wrote in there like, wow, it kind of sounds like a Demon Hunter, Ryan Clark kind of clean chorus, like the way that he's singing it. But I like these clean vocals in Dead World more than I do later on in the album, the way clean vocals are done later, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I really do like them.
I was surprised. I think this is the best song on the album.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites for sure. It's good. Just the way, like, too, like the verses when they come in, they just like smack you in the face, and it's like super heavy, groovy guitar, and then like the next line of the verse is like deathcore fast.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's so fun. Like, I love that. I really love that about them.
Yeah, it actually reminds me of their song "End of the Age."
Absolutely.
From Dichotomy, because like just like explaining something, you know, like 3 or 4 word sentences that kind of chop you, like that's like a line, you know, like four words that he'll be like, you know, they move the mountains into place.
Yeah.
It just feels like there's this being forming this planet.
Yeah.
And it just reminds me of like the power of the song in End of the Age, right?
The way that the verses roll, it's like you hear it clearly, like what he's saying. I think I love that too about Jason. The way that he does his vocals is like, you know what he's saying in most cases.
He enunciates really well
until he gets to like his deathcore kind of stuff towards like, especially the last song we're gonna get to. But like he does like that type of stuff. But like when he screams like this, you hear him, and like you hear what's happening and this world that's being created and all like the chaos and craziness. And
so I guess I'll get into
let's do it.
The story, I guess.
Yeah, we're almost there.
So this song is basically that there is this, I don't know, alien race or something these beings called ancients, and they found a planet that is uninhabitable, and for that matter, uninhabited. These are literally lines from the song, and they created the world. They terraformed it. They made it livable. They created life, but in that life, there was something hidden beneath the skin. Dun dun dun. They're cursed, which will lead to other songs, and kind of sounds familiar to other stories I've heard.
For sure, and you hear even little. It's like little keys kind of give it away. I love the last line of verse 2, flawless design in each detail. It was all perfect. Everything was good, right? And so obviously, you compare it to Genesis 1, right? When God creates the earth, the world, and everything's good. Everything's perfect.
Yep.
Until, right? And that's kind of where it gets to. So what's your favorite, part of the song?
What do you think my favorite part of the song is?
I already know it's gonna be the breakdown. I mean, that's what I wrote. I figured you knew I'd like that part too.
Yeah, I know.
When he says comes back in and says lost forever, lost inside our own flesh, and he says it bleh.
Yeah. What did he just say?
That's really cool. I think, and that makes this this song. And it makes I think it's the reason why it's one of my favorites.
Lost forever, lost inside our own flesh.
Yeah,
It's just so
it is
good.
so good.
So good.
And when he screams flesh again after that, it's just super awesome ending, and the cool guitar work outro to get you out of this climax of a breakdown to end the song.
Right. Yeah, and you start this story with this world that's created and something was wrong underneath the skin type of deal, and it's obviously going to move you next, and we can give it away, Gary. Obviously the allegory is going to be about the gospel. It's going to be about that, and it's going to lead us all the way through. And the way they do that, able to do that, they do it in a masterful way.
Yeah.
Right? Even just starting it this way, I think they do it so well, and it's pretty cool because a lot of bands can't do that.
Yeah.
Right? But if any band in this scene can do it, it's becoming the Archetype.
Tyler, I'm pretty surprised you're being all positive, and you were saying you're going to hate this whole thing, and you're man, they just killed the story. Those lyrics and the allegory, it's nuts. It's just the best thing.
No, I'm not going to say I don't like the gospel, Gary.
Okay.
What am I supposed You know what? The story that they're telling, bogus.
They have
nothing to do with
artists right there. I've read this story.
I have no problem with that. But yes, overall, love the intro. This is a great intro to the album. It's a perfect song to start with. And I'm excited for what they have to say next.
You ready to move on?
Let's do it.
All right, next song, track number 2, The Lost Colony.
Strongest and bravest that dwells among us, the wisest, most clever, traverse solution, chosen for the journey, conditioned to survive, to move between dimensions, traveling past the pain, tested in the fire.
Okay, so The Lost Colony, it starts off with a bang. I really like the way that the intro, like, it comes in and it's super heavy, but like there's also space when the vocals happen in between. I think Becoming the Archetype does a really good job with that. This whole song might be my favorite on the album, Gary.
Wasn't this their first single?
Yes, it was.
Oh, so like right away.
And everyone got stoked. Everyone got stoked when it came out too.
Yeah, it's great. It's a good song.
So what do you think about it?
So in that intro, there's this really awesome like bass tone fill.
Yes.
And it's real rumbly if you got good rumblers. But musically, I think it's a solid track. There's a lot of really cool fills. Sometimes they're done with the electric guitar, sometimes they're done with keys, and it just keeps it very dynamic. There's a super cool guitar solo. Do you like guitar solos, Tyler?
It's okay, but going back to your idea of like fills, it's cool because like when you think of fills, normally you're like, oh, it's a drum fill, you know, or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But like it's so true. Like the way that he's like, the vocals are happening in the song. The guitar kind of does its own thing. The electric guitar, like the bass is kind of, I feel like, running it, but like the electric guitar fills in. It comes out of nowhere, and there's fills and like keys too, like you said. And it's just musically like awesome.
Yeah, like he'll finish a verse, and the guitar will just be like dun 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 dun, and then the next line, and I'm like, oh, that was cool. Like it's like something is happening. Is like, that's not good. What I also really like is the different types of shouts and screaming, and you have like strained vocals, you got like his normal screams, group shout kind of stuff. Highs and lows. I just feel like this song is very just dynamic. It's all over the place. I feel like if you like anything that Becoming the Archetype has ever done, you'll like something from this song.
Yes, there's so many sounds. There's so many different type of styles within this one song.
Yeah. I even heard some Tourniquet. I won't get into that, but
I think it's really, and it's this whole like song is kind of scary, right? You can feel the dread, and I think the music like does such a good job like making you feel that, like it can tell the story. The instruments can also tell the story along with the vocals.
Yeah,
I think it's really cool.
So what do you think about the breakdown? It's breakdown.
Yeah. I really like it. Complete and Total Blackout. But even before that, like, it's a bridge. I don't know. But when it comes back in, and, like, I think the lyrics are like, then without a warning, we lost connection. Mm-hmm. Silence. And he says, like, the next part is like, only silence. I can't even do it the way that he did it. But, like, it sounds like in the studio, he didn't mean to do it like that either. It's like this completely unique, extremely hard to replicate way to say silence, but it works so well, and it's like really cool vocals, man.
Only silence, complete and total blackout.
And then it goes into like complete and total blackout, heavy.
Yeah.
Love it,
Yeah.
man.
Such awesome sound.
The ending's awesome too. Screaming abort, like abort the mission type of deal.
Yep.
Very sci-fi space feel.
Yep. So this part of regarding the story, the colony, they gathered their best and brightest of 12, which is an allegory to the 12 tribes of Israel, sent them to this planet, and for decades they've seen that they were working on the planet. They had communication, and life was thriving, everything was going great, until one day communication was cut. Silence. Only silence.
Yeah, that's pretty good actually, Gary.
No, that's terrible. And so that's how the song ends, is like this cliffhanger of, something went wrong. There's absolutely no communication. We need to abort. Got to get him out.
Yeah, and I even feel like it's telling the story about obviously the tribes of Israel and stuff like that, but even the before, like the end of the previous song we talked about, right? The Dead World, we talked about how the creation, and we had this something on their skin that was wrong, and all these things have gone wrong, and then you think of an allegory like of Noah's Ark and people dying and only a few staying, right? I think there's that part of it in there too. And that's where it's heading. Like, there's no more communication with God after all this, or the ancients. Right?
Well, and I don't know if the song is from the perspective of the ancients.
No.
We're getting into...
Too deep, yeah.
We need to talk to the author.
Only a fraction of them survived the journey anyways. The others lost forever, Gary. Singular in purpose. You know, we kind of are going to time jump in a sense. But like centuries of failed attempts to reconnect with the colony.
Yep.
They can't.
Yep.
Stop it. We got to go back.
Shall we move on to the next song?
Track 3, The Remnant.
We have not forgotten. We have not forgotten. The underground insurgent remnant. We bear this burden through the ages. Beneath the surface, the war still rages on. They were the chosen ones. We have not forgotten. We are the only ones who refuse to let go.
So the intro of this song is kind of creepy, like a Halloween theme song kind of thing.
Yeah.
I like this song. When it was a single, I didn't care for it.
Oh.
I was disappointed with it. I didn't see how it fit. And so I remember they posted something like, this album is filled with pieces that are more like Dichotomy, and it's filled with pieces that are more like Terminate Damnation. And he's like, if you love both albums, you'll love this one. If you only love one, you might just like half the stuff on this.
Sure.
And that's where I was like, The Remnant must be that one. But listening through the whole thing several times and like the story and stuff, and I feel like it meshes well with the songs that are around it.
Yeah.
So that it's not just like, have that song stand alone, play, and be like, what am I listening to? But yeah, I like this song again now. It's very symphonic, which the whole symphony of stuff I don't think I was ready for when I first heard it.
Sure.
And the keys play a big part in setting the tone and the mood, and the clean vocals are also really good.
It's interesting though, like for me, I listen to it and I really like the beginning and the end because it's heavy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the clean vocals are bad, but it's a lot of clean vocals.
Yep, there is. Yeah.
A lot, man. Like, and they're good. I think they're good. It just wasn't fully what I was expecting going in.
Yeah, and they're like metal style vocals. Yeah. They're not group shouts like what you like.
That's true. Yeah, it's kind of some repetitive stuff, but like I like the meaning. Like this is like the leftover, right? This is what's left of the chosen people.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty cool allegory to God's people.
Yep. The whole like leaving Egypt stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like this song's about the remaining people that are wanting to recover what was lost with the ancients, right? There's a lot of silence between them and the ancients, and so it's wanting to rebuild, restore using parts of the song. reclaim the truth, right? So it's kind of like the beginning of this rebellion. My favorite part, I kind of like the bridge. You know, the part that you'd wish was a breakdown?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I like it because it adds a lot of space. See what I did there? Space.
Yeah.
Space.
Feel
theme.
it, man.
It's hilarious. And you know, it's not just another guitar solo or breakdown, but I don't know. I thought it was a good change of pace from the first two.
Yeah, it is. I really do enjoy the ending. The rebuild, restore, reclaim the truth, and take the leap again. I like it. I like how that's done. It's probably my favorite part of the song. I don't know if, like, for me, like, 4.5 minutes of this was, like, maybe just a little too much. It just felt a little repetitive, but, like, you know, it is a good change of pace. That's a good way to put it. And it fits into the story. It fits into the story that's being told.
So that reminds me of a story, I guess.
Yeah.
So have you listened to the new Parkway Drive album that just came out?
New?
Like 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago? By the time people hear this, last month?
No, I haven't actually.
So it's okay. It's okay. But there's one song called Darker Still, and it's like 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
And Parkway Drive doesn't really do that.
Right.
And to me, it's just Australian Five-Finger Death Punch.
What?
Right?
Dude,
like,
you can't say that about
no,
Parkway
if you
Drive.
listen to it, you'll be like, dang it, Gary's right. Like,
Australian.
But I really like it. It's a lot of clean vocals, low voice, low singing. It builds through the whole thing. It's got like 3 guitar solos, and like it has the middle part where like he starts to scream the chorus instead of singing. I like it, right? Listening to it in the car with Jen, and like 3 minutes in, maybe 4 minutes in, the second guitar solo starts, and Jen's like, this song could have ended a long time ago. I was like, we're only halfway there. Like, she didn't like it, but if you have time, you should listen to it.
I don't know if I've listened to Parkway Drive since like Deep Blue or Atlas, like back in like 2010, but new. I'm looking now. Darker Still, I see it.
Yep. Add it to your list. Check it out. And
so you're saying I can't just waste 7 minutes right here listening to it?
You wouldn't. You would stop at 2 minutes. How about you just like jump to like 1.5 minutes in and you say, you're right.
Well, they're whistling like an Irish, some sort of Irish gig.
The whistles.
Bro, you're right. You're really right. It's some sort of like slowed down Five-Finger Death Punch song. The ones you always show me when I come over to your house.
There's so much emotion in
there
this.
There are American flags and firefighters going into buildings and police officers like protecting little kids.
All right.
Right? Isn't that what, every video?
Alrighty. Well, I think that wraps up the remnant.
Yeah, dude.
So yeah, the next song is the beginning of chapter 2.
Yes.
You remember that? Which is called Dimensions of Deliverance, and this is another 3-song chapter. So let's start The Calling.
So The Calling, this intro is made for spooky season, Gary.
Yeah, the last song I said creepy. This one's like quadruple.
Dude, that intro, like just the music, just the creepy, very reminiscent to me of like some Dichotomy like stuff, like Ransom, and I really think that it builds really, really well and then that piano like kicks in and it's still like super eerie. Then out of nowhere, drums go nuts, screams come in, and
yeah,
it just
like
is like in your face.
Yeah.
In your face. I absolutely love, and for me, like, the first time I listened to this intro, it's just who I am. I must be an impatient person. I'm like, come on. Get to the point.
Dude.
Like, let's go.
I feel like you drink too much coffee or something.
I
that's
do
your
that
problem.
for sure.
You're going too fast.
Sure. So I have a Keurig in my classroom, and I drink at least 4 cups a day
of just the Keurig, like
of the Keurig.
Oh my gosh!
K-cups. Yeah, dude.
You're worse than me, and I thought I was pretty bad.
Yeah, I have to have, whenever I'm walking around and like teaching and helping kids, like I have to have coffee in my hand. I have to be that teacher that you had that like gets really close and helps you, and you can just smell their rancid coffee breath. That's got to be me, But I don't know. I guess for me, like, I want it to start right away. I think those are my favorite songs.
Yeah, you want every song to be like their song "Necrotizing Fasciitis."
Yes,
Make it
I want it to be
nasty.
hardcore right away. But the thing is, the intro actually makes this song better. You got to give it a chance, and eventually, the intro might become your favorite part. Like for me,
Tyler,
I love it now, dude.
You make no sense. You start this episode off. I don't know, man. This album's it's okay. It's going to be rough. I mean, I'm going to hate on every song. We're 4 songs in, and you're like, oh, man, the slow intro that takes 1 minute and 30 seconds before he even starts screaming.
Okay. No. I never said I did not say I hated this at all. It's fine.
Oh, I didn't mean you hated it. Just that you're
it's fine.
Meh.
It's good. And some songs, I would say this song, The Calling, is chef's kiss, right? It's amazing. It's the LeBron James of this album, in my opinion.
What?
Yeah, it's good, dude. Like, I love it.
All right. What about the clean vocals?
Love it. See, okay, so this is another thing. This like clean vocal part gets stuck in my head all the time. It reminds me of something a band does, probably mainstream, but like I like the way that it's done. I can't really put my finger on it.
Billie Eilish or something.
No.
You think I'm joking, but it's probably because she has a lot of those like really weird keys when she's singing.
Yeah, it's not. I'm thinking more like literally like something on like mainstream rock stations, like a band. Maybe it's Australian Five Finger. No, Australian 5-Finger Death Punch.
Oh,
that's probably what it has.
The better one.
Parkway Drive. Yeah. No, I don't know. It'll probably come to me later. I'm like, oh yeah.
So, I'll say the lyrics of this song, the story of this song, is it's like there's like a secret group of people that are sneaking around, trying to have a mission to send someone through this portal or whatever to save those lost people. Right, and so they're breaking the rules. It's outlawed. You're not allowed to do this research. Mm-hmm. And finally, they find someone who can resist the ridiculous sentence: transdimensional nanoparticle radiation. And
I
then
love
they're like,
dude.
And they're gonna ship this person, the one person that can resist this radiation.
Yeah.
And I love the line where they're like, "All you've got to do now is survive." Gotta go save the people. It's up to you. Peace. But you know what that transdimensional nanoparticle radiation reminds me of?
What?
Austrian Death Machine.
Yeah, that's funny. That's true. It's totally.
You know that song I'm talking about?
Yes.
Where Arnold's like, discombobulated corpse termination, urbanization, governmental libation, explosive Montezuma, blasting power revenge.
I came up with a sweet song title the other day. It didn't really hold any meaning, but it sounds so brutal, so I wanted to write a song called Discombobulated corpse termination, urbanization, governmental libation, explosive Montezuma's blasting power revenge. Come on, say it with me. Discombobulated corpse termination, urbanization, governmental libation, explosive Montezuma's blasting power revenge.
Yes, that's funny. It totally does. I love it. I like this idea, obviously, and my favorite part, like, I think my favorite part is the intro, and then like the end when he screams "survive" and the outro. Man, like I even like the outro. It just feels like a complete story in one song.
I love so the outro is like this crazy guitar solo that's like, I don't know, crashing sounds.
Yes.
Like the song is breaking apart, and I picture like every time I listen to this, I think of it like I'm watching a movie, and like this is the part where the ship is going through the wormhole or whatever, and like everything's just like breaking, and the sound is changing, and everything's and the song eventually ends, which goes to the next song, which I think is In Space.
Yeah. Well, the guitar like is going crazy, and you feel like you said, I guess, like the ship's pulling apart, or like you're dodging asteroids in an asteroid field or something, right? I don't know, right? Like, survive. Okay, from what? And that's what your imagination has to do.
Transdimensional nanoparticle radiation, Tyler.
Dude, yeah, no, love it. So, what's your favorite part of the song?
I don't know. I mean, I like the whole song. The guitar solo at the end and the outro stuff is really cool. But it might be the chorus, because like it's very fast. The screaming is just very aggressive and in your face, and it's like, oh, that's cool. And it just like, I feel like the drums keep going at that aggressive level, but then the vocals are softened, and you have the clean vocals where he's like, close your eyes, da 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 da. Dun, 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 dun. Don't know the words off the top of my head like that, but I don't know. It's just really catchy, and it's relaxing and calming. And then back to like everything goes chaos again, and
Well, when they come in. It does it twice, but when he comes in from the intro and like the drums are going and he's screaming, it's like a deathcore black metal. Super
his
fast.
Vocals get low.
Yeah. And the drums are just going nuts behind it. Mm-hmm. Like, it's cool, man. Yeah. Yep. There's a lot of different styles, right? We already talked about that, but like, who are they? Who is becoming the Archetype? Like, how can you define them in anything? Extreme metal, right? I mean, that's what they are. Yeah, love the song. It's my favorite song on the album. I you know what? Like, thinking back now, I might have said Lost Colony was my favorite.
You can't make up your mind, can you?
I might have like started this by saying, I don't know if I like it, and I'm like, oh, this song's my favorite. No, this one's my favorite. You know what might be my favorite? This next one.
At the end of this, you're like, album of the year, as I was saying the whole time.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
All right, let's move on to the Phantom Field.
All right.
So this is my favorite song on the album.
No, it's not, dude. No, it's not. You can't even say that.
I'm kidding. But yeah, so this is like kind of what I was saying in the last song. It's like a movie, and this is the part where he's just slowly drifting through space, getting to where he needs to go. And I just picture him like, freezing, starving, probably hooked up to a machine that's feeding him and keeping him warm, but staring out into nothingness, waiting to get to where he's going. And the way the music is just very calm and like, I don't know, relaxing and like alone. Like when all the music goes out and it's just that Spanish guitar, it's just like, that's all there is. And the rest of this album is just filled with so many dynamic sounds that this is like super the opposite. What's the opposite of dynamic? Static?
Yeah. It's
I don't know.
It's Jesus in the wilderness, 40 days, 40 nights. Right?
Preparing.
Like that type of feeling, the preparation for what is to come. Right? I think I agree with Spotify. I just like look and have the lyric thing pulled up and it says, we don't know the lyrics for this one, you know? And so that's kind of how I feel.
Like, the lyrics are my favorite part.
There are no lyrics, and it's the instrumental, dude.
I know, and you hate it. You're like, skip.
I
delete from this playlist.
Have I ever in the history of this podcast liked an instrumental?
No. So what I like about this song is that they have a song like this on, I want to say, every album.
Yeah,
with a Spanish guitar thing, and I've always enjoyed them. And it's like right up my alley for like acoustic kind of stuff. It's like that creepy, if acoustic could be metal, it'd be Spanish metal. Or Spanish acoustic, I don't know. But it reminds me of this Tourniquet acoustic album I used to listen to. And I listened to it recently when I found out their drummer, Ted Kirkpatrick, passed away a month ago or so. Re-listened to that, and man, I love that acoustic album. Just that, the sound and the metal behind it is really cool. But
dang, I was gonna make a joke. I was gonna make a joke about Tourniquet, and then you said the dead drummer, so I can't.
Well,
do
what
that.
was your joke?
No, I mean, it's just
they're terrible.
Wow, you know me so well. No, I wasn't gonna say that, Gary, but you had to make it so I couldn't, anyways.
Good. All right. So I think that's it for Phantom Field. Right, short song, not a lot to it. It'll probably go on one of my like instrumental acoustic playlists.
What do you use that for?
Work. So like sometimes when I work, I can just play whatever. It can have words or whatever. Like if it's just mindless, I don't have to think very much. I just have to do a lot of do this, but the same thing over there, and do the same thing. But like when I have to write documentation, where I know what I want to say. If I'm listening to a song with words, I cannot type. Like
sure.
And I'm easily distracted, and I want to type what they're saying and whatever. But so that's usually what it's for. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, no, thanks for not asking back. But for me, like,
what do you use this song for, Tyler?
I don't. So
much?
But you always would hate on me when you'd see on my Spotify that I was listening to lo-fi beats.
I don't hate on you. Like
you're like, oh, lo-fi beats again. You know, well, I mean, I find them to be great for when like in my class and students are like independently working or whatever. But this was a first for me, Gary. I assigned reading like the second week of school because I'm a mean teacher, you know, whatever. But like when students are like reading independently, they asked me, they said, hey, yo, can we listen to music while we read?
Dog.
And in my mind, I'm like, dude, how can you listen to like music other than maybe this instrumental and actually be able to comprehend a novel? I don't know, man. Like for me, I kind of have to have it silent when I read or when I work. But some people, sounds like you're one of those people. You got to have something going.
I had a teacher in high school. It was probably like you, Mr. Tate. And he would play classical music while we read and did stuff like that. And so, you know, we'd be hearing Mozart and Bach and all that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Instrumentals. Boring since the 15th century. All right, dude, let's move on to the next song, The Awakening. So this intro to me is like some sort of like quest in a video game, right? This building, then you finally see like where you're supposed to be. Like when the music like fully like comes in, and it's some pretty cool music, I'm not gonna lie. Like there's some grooves and there's some really awesome, it's a way different type of intro music, you know, about the same length, but way different than The Calling.
Yeah.
Right? Like a totally different type of instrumental intro.
You know what I pictured when I heard the intro?
What?
I picture like hobbits or someone like, you know, hopping through a field. It's happy. Things are great. You know, it's like adventure.
Very adventurous,
positive, very happy. And then like after that first minute, it turns so sinister and just gets like super evil. And it kind of sounds like, well, it sounds like I have two thoughts, and one is like that the bad guy is like the camera, you know, backs up and you see the bad guys watching them in the field, ready to take them out. You know, either that or like I don't know, like when like the hero finally gets like powered up and like Goku's ready to fight now, and he's all Super Saiyan and he's just like walking slowly, ready to murder. You know, it's just a super BA tone, and
it is
music.
Man.
Yeah,
it is. It's really cool. And then like you feel like you're there, right? Like it happened. Oh, we made it, and now it's time to get going, right? And everything comes back, and I think there's a few parts of the song are my favorite parts. I like some of the lyrics a lot. I do like the idea. Let me find it and make sure I say it the right way. I am the ancient of ancients, the beginning and the end. And then the world below you has been corrupted, not from without, but from within. That part's awesome. So fun. I love that part. Yeah.
Yeah. So the lyrics of this, like where the story's at is, he's made it to the planet. He's crashing down to land, and basically time and space all stop, and there's like a blinding light, and the Ancient of Ancients shows up in front of him, right? And says, I am the Ancient of Ancients, the beginning and the end. The world below you has been corrupted. And like Tyler said, not from without, but from within. And then I guess he screams yeah.
There's a lot of hey.
I love that group shouting too. Like
yeah.
But you know, and then he tells him like the scary part. Only you can end the curse. Sacrifice your body for the broken. Your essence must be poured out. Right. And, you know, traveling through space, I'd be like, excuse me, I just survived this trans-dimensional hooty-wuddy, and now you want me to do what now?
Yeah. A perfect way to show the idea of like knowing and hearing God's plan, right? Like how Jesus did it. I think it's a really well done song, and I like the part too, like when like finally like it happens and he gets there and sees the planet's moving forward, and it's like a bullet out of a gun, and you can just like picture a capsule.
Once the ancient disappears, it's like boom.
And you can picture like a capsule like coming down out of space.
Yeah.
And like you seeing it, you know? It's pretty cool.
Like a bullet from a gun, space inside, come rushing back into focus, tearing through the heavens with fervent heat, and finally crashing down into the ocean. Into the ocean.
Yeah. So your favorite part was the without and within thing.
Yeah.
Mine was when he says, "From beautiful chaos to deafening silence."
Oh yeah.
I love
like that part
the vocals
too.
on that. But yeah, his like vocals on this are lower and grittier. Like they sound so good. Like the first minute or so, like it's just different than all the other songs.
Wasn't that like a big deal? Like I remember seeing Jason Wisdom like interview somewhere and was like, I don't know if I could do this again. Like I don't know if I could go back and growl and scream like I used to. But he obviously can.
Yeah. It's probably some of the best I've heard from him.
Absolutely. I agree, man.
Or the recording is just a lot better.
There could be some of that.
I don't know how many tries it took.
But he didn't lose it. Like, he didn't lose it, man.
Yeah.
So
cool. This is my favorite song.
Oh, okay.
I love that the intro, like all those different instruments that are in there. Like, I think there's a banjo. There's some kind of
didgeridoo.
Yeah, something like that. Like, there's some weird stuff. And I think that's what kind of gives it that Hobbit feel, is like all these different like twangy, unoriginal, instruments. But
especially the first part of that intro.
You know what's funny? I was doing grocery pickup at Walmart.
Yeah.
Do you do that?
Yeah, you got to plan ahead, man. Like, that's not my forte.
So we do plan. Like, every weekend, we're like, what day are we picking up, Saturday or Sunday, whatever. We try to get a whole week's worth of groceries. Basically, you place your order online. Someone else does the shopping for you, and they say, hey, it's ready. Come pick it up. And we're like, sweet. You just saved me an hour and a half of my life, and I don't have to buy all those extra Oreos and chips that are on all the end caps that entice my eyes. True. Right? So you sit there and you wait, and, they pop up, blah, blah, blah. Open your trunk, and they're loading it in. The song changes to this one. I like to have the music on just a little bit so that when they're back there, they can hear like, oh, this guy listens to metal, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And it was like my first time. Like, the album just came out. And it went from the Phantom Field, which I was like, and then it played The Awakening. I'm like, all right, what's this song about? And the way it starts is just like, I bet that guy's like, what is he listening to?
Hobbit music, dude. He's like, dude, this guy is about ready to go to a cosplay Lord of the Rings.
Exactly. It's like, this dude's into like Celtic folky dance stuff. I don't know what he's listening to. I was like, come on.
Come on. Break
But
downs.
of course, by the time he's done tossing everything in the bag, he's like, have a good day, and closes it. And then he gets to all the dark stuff, and you're like, let me turn it up really loud and roll the windows down. You missed this part, dude.
I promise. It is metal, dude. Yeah. That's funny.
Totally.
That's awesome. It does take a while. And that's the thing, like, you gotta be there for the ride of what becoming the Archetype is.
Yeah.
You gotta know it's gonna be going like a roller coaster. And sometimes you gotta like go all the way to the top for it to come down. And this song is a really good example of that for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think they're like, I feel like that with a lot of their albums. It's just there's too much detail that if you put it on as background music, or like you're doing something else and you're not focused on actually listening, you're just gonna be like, it's okay, I don't care for it. Whatever. Like, there's a few parts that got my attention when he went blah and crazy guitar solos and stuff. But yeah, if you sit down and listen to this with a nice beverage of your choice and read along to the lyrics, I think it's an excellent story and enjoyable music. Like, you're going to have a good 45 minutes. Is that how long this is? I don't know.
It isn't an album or songs that you just randomly put a few songs into your shuffle playlist.
No,
like,
it's awkward
isn't.
when those pop in on shuffle. You're like, whoa.
Yeah. There's a few songs that might work, but like, and I think you stated this at the beginning, like, it just works together as one piece of art. Like, it's 1 through 10. It's a whole concept. So you have to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah. So let's move on. So that's the end of chapter 2. The next section is chapter 3 of this story, and it's Echoes of Extinction. So you can try to guess what's going to happen. But the next song is track 7, The Hollow.
Regaining
So right away, the Hollow gives me Phineas vibes for sure with that guitar.
Yeah.
Right? You think Dan Gailey's still there slinging the strings, but I don't think he's on this song. I know he's on The Lost Colony. Yeah, I think he's on The Lost Colony. But it definitely feels like something that would be like a Phineas song. Like, it's just a fun riff, too. Like, another different style of music, right?
Yeah.
Another different style of music. I think the intro, too, like, when it starts getting into, like, the main riffs, and the first verse, I can't, like, really put my finger on it, but when it gets to the pre-chorus, and he starts saying, I can't remember the last time, big pause, I took a breath on my own, big pause. I feel like that's Sleeping Giant. Like, just the way that he says it with, like, backing behind him, if that makes sense. It's just, like, a shout more so than, like, his scream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that part. I like that they added it that way.
Yeah. So I know this is a pretty popular song with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think if they were to make a radio track, it'd be this one. Like, if you got rid of that 1 minute bridge with the guitar thingy at the end, you know, where it's like chorus, bridge, chorus. I think if you got rid of that and made it like a 3.5 minute song, totally.
Sure.
Like, because I think you could take this song out of the story, right? And have it on its own. But anyway, what I'm getting at and complaining at is that it's repetitive lyrically compared to the rest of the album. That's all like every verse is a story and it's like driving. This one gives very little detail to what's happening. But basically in this song, he gets out of his ship, ditches his lifeline that he's been hooked up to, feeling super alone. And that's when the chorus happens and he says, this world is hollow, filled with selfish, hollow creatures, conceived in sorrow, captive to their fragile features.
It's almost like a side story episode.
Yeah.
You know,
well,
like...
This is like where the album art comes from, you know, where the ship's like Pride Rock looking, sitting there, and you got all the hollow creatures crawling around, and like that's like an ocean of hollow creatures.
Yeah.
But that's where the album art comes from.
I really like, too, the way the chorus is done.
I like it, too. I like the sing-scream combo.
This world is hollow, filled with selfish, hollow creatures, conceived in sorrow, captive to their fragile features.
I would rather have that than straight up clean vocals.
I think it depends, but yeah. I would like this style if it wasn't, like, I don't know, repetitive to me.
Sure, it does kind of feel like maybe like a Demon Hunter-esque or like a Fit for a King trying to be like that.
Right, that's why I'm saying it feels more like a formula for a radio song. You know, the only thing that makes it not, you know, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. It's a hyperbole. There's not that many choruses in this one, but is that long guitar solo thing that I was saying. If you took this out, this would be the metalcore formula song, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I still like this song.
I'm surprised you do, because to me the guitars are very metal, like progressive metal feeling, and like not.
It's
so
like
much
that
metal.
first riff. You know those kids at your school that learn that one metal riff, and they just play it all the time. Like, it feels like that's some Avenged Sevenfold riff they learned, and they just keep playing it, you know? But I do like it. I think it's a good change of pace, but I can totally see your point, how it doesn't feel like it's driving the story. It's self-contained, which means it could totally be a single and be okay.
Yeah, we did a poll on our Discord server of, we listed the 10 songs and said, vote for your top 3 tracks. And so when the poll was all done, like, The Hollow was the top one. Like, pretty much everyone had it in the top 3. So it is up there. People love it.
Yeah, it might be my fourth or third, Before we get too off track, I think we can move on to the next track.
All right, let's do that. Next song is The Ruins.
So this is how it ends. Before it even starts. Yeah. Apprehended by monstrous force. Skin like feathers kicking mud. Nebulous reach, outstretched arms. Protruding veins, dripping blood. Sail across the blackened sea. Through the village of the living things. Otherwise transfixed on me. The finest symphony.
So this track, it gets my attention first because it features Ryan Clark.
Yep, absolutely.
And then second, the way it starts is way different than all the other ones. With those broken vocals, like a yell, shout, strained thing, where he's like, so this is how it ends. And, so lyrically in this song, it's a first-person perspective of the dude from the ship.
Yeah.
And he's being carried by these creatures to, like, their town. And he sees the empty faces of hollow creatures longing to awaken. Right? That's like the end of the song. But they have veins that hang out of their bodies, dripping blood. Their bodies crumble at the slightest touch, like any contact. And there's a line that I really like, endless endeavor just to stay intact.
Yeah.
Because they're so hollow. Like they're just focused on how do I keep my body from not crumbling. And then he has a line that I really like, and he says, "Are these the children of men I was sent to redeem?" And they're all completely hollow inside, right?
Right.
And I Ryan Clark's parts, I like the lyrics. I like what it's meant to be. You know, it's like him coming to terms with him being a sacrifice.
Yeah.
You know, every breath is a prayer. Death comes for everyone. Like, damn, why not come for me? This curse, it's in the water, it's in the air. When he sings that, though, it sounds like a different band, a different song. I've been spending weeks trying to figure out what is this.
Death comes for everyone. It's in the water. It's in the air. There's a loaded gun. Every breath is a prayer.
I mean, to me, it sounds like a Demon Hunter ballad, dude. Like,
Don't do that, no.
It
Okay.
does.
Here's the elephant in the room that I said I would address and then didn't. I don't like him in the song.
Oh,
Don't.
wow. Write that one down.
Yeah, So this is his third time on a Becoming the Archetype song or album. He was on Dichotomy, where he did like background singing vocals on their song Dichotomy.
Oh, yeah.
And then he was on a Terminate Damnation song, Screaming. So this is like, I don't know, middle ground, mid-tempo stuff. I don't know, he's more forward on this. Like, he has a bigger role. And I don't know, like, the song is so aggressive and so fast. And when he comes in, like, it's like a different song. And it, like, as soon as he's done singing, it's like the drums are like, okay, everybody, fast forward, and they have to do like this speed up gallop to get back up to speed, you know. And then the music continues, and then when his part comes back in, I just feel like it's so separated. And I get that one is like a first person, like he's saying these things and narrating these things, when Ryan Clark's parts are more like internal, like everyone has to die. Are these the people I'm supposed to save? Like, you know, those are his thoughts. But I don't know. When I saw Ryan Clark, I was stoked and ready to hear, like, you know, double growls, like he has a verse, and like, I don't know, I just more aggressive, right?
Sure.
And
I mean,
I
like
feel,
it.
I feel
think
bad
you're-
for nitpicking, but
Yeah, I think you're spot on, though. Like, it does feel like a different song because everything up to that point like has been super heavy, super brutal, and then all of a sudden it like just feels like it's building, and then falls off a cliff to get to Ryan Clark, his chorus.
I don't know, because whatever. I don't want to bring Five Finger Death Punch into this again, but
again, Gary, bro,
if there were
your
low...
obsession is getting to a new level.
So if Ryan Clark's vocals were low, and it was more like a talky or like really low singing, like because he can get really low, like the Five Finger Death Punch guy, then the sound that they do.
You know his name. Just say his name. You know it.
I actually forgot it right now. If he would do that, I felt like it'd be a better fit. But I'm just complaining. Like this is probably my least favorite song on the album.
Least favorite. Wow. More like even worse than Phantom Field.
But no, okay, that instrumental is probably last.
Right, because instrumental. I don't fully get like upset at it. To me, it sounds like okay, this is what a Demon Hunter ballad is, but you don't think that's true. I feel like you keep trying to get me to listen to just in this episode. You've mentioned Five Finger Death Punch like 3 times, dude.
I have.
Almost like I've been trying to get you to listen to Nickelback.
You have, and you won't stop even today. Before we started recording.
Yo, check out this video about people like hardcore dancing to the new Nickelback.
You're like, it's so funny and not ironic.
And it's heavy, kind of. Right? Like,
yes.
It is, though.
All right. So anyway, do you have any thoughts? I mean, I feel like I just bashed the song, but lyrically, it's a fun song. And
it is. I actually like it. I mean, yes, when Ryan Clark is doing the chorus, I'm not the biggest fan of this type of chorus in general. Not as Ryan Clark, just in general, in the middle of the metal awesomeness that is outside of it. I think it's one of their. It's crazy because I think it is one of their heavier songs outside of the chorus on the album.
Yeah. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I am only upset and complaining because I think I would have wanted Ryan Clark to do something different.
Yeah.
But for what it is, even if he wasn't there, it was a different singer or their regular singer, I would like it just fine. Right. My only negativity is that
you just had expectations going in.
Yes. I overhyped myself for reading featuring Ryan Clark and went, oh, that's what he's gonna do on this song. Okay,
Yeah, when you see like Ryan Clark, you don't necessarily know. When you see like Brooke Reeves, you're like, oh, this is gonna be good.
Yep. That's true.
So you get these different types of styles with Ryan Clark, but yeah.
So, shall we move on to The Curse?
This is my curse.
No. Not that one.
Yeah, let's do it.
Welcome to the world of Deadman. Welcome to the world of Deadman.
Okay, Gary, I think you might have to help me on this one. Okay, so I kind of, and I don't want to sound like I don't like this part, but the welcome to the world of Deadman, like, to me, it gets kind of repetitive. And it feels like, like when you were in sports and you like had to do conditioning for a certain amount of time, like you took a break, and then you had to like the dead man part, you ran, and then you like took a break.
Okay.
I don't know, like to me, like, that's what it felt like. And I don't fully
you were
like
struggling?
it. I'm just, like okay, here we go again. Like you have to run lines or something, and you run lines during that time, and then you get back, and you're like, finally it's over, and then it comes again.
Oh, that's
and
funny.
Like,
It's actually listed on one of my favorite parts of the song.
But the intro part and the second time it does it, I'm like, here we go again. The last time, the end of the song, is my favorite part.
Oh yeah.
Is he screaming it differently, or is it a different guitar tone?
Both.
Different.
It's all of
note,
those.
different key. I feel like he might be screaming the same way.
I think he is screaming the same way. On
But
all three
everything
times,
else,
right? Because the first time is very
Yes.
bare bones.
Yep.
And that's what I was going to say is like at the very beginning of the song, it reminds me of like Demon Hunter's first album.
Yeah.
Much
okay.
cleaner, not that crazy, but the vocals are just harsh, and like that's what leads it. You know, he's like, "Welcome to the world of," and it's like a group scream, "Dead men." You hear like two vocals or whatever, but the background there's not a lot going on. The second time they do it, there's like this creepy key and guitar sound going on in the background, and then on the third one, it's after that crazy guitar solo thing, which I'm sure we'll talk about, and it's just like chaos behind him.
Fun.
Yes. Yeah. And I think it just adds more. And I think it's the same style to that.
I think so too. But like to me, once it's all full there, it's like, oh, that's not lame anymore. I can dig that. And I actually like my least favorite is the intro.
Okay.
My favorite part of the song is the outro. Same lyrics.
Yeah.
But the way it's done to me is like so different. I don't know.
I think the vocals are impressive on this song.
They are.
Like they do
are
all
impressive.
the things. The lows, the highs, the groups.
Yes,
you know.
they do.
So lyrically, what the song's about, it's from the perspective of the cursed people, right? And they kind of recap what the whole album has been, right?
Yeah.
The water went bad. It's in the water, you know. And then the curse spread. There's no cure. There's no fix. And then they talk about the guy that crash landed, right? He descended like fire from the heavens. Awesome line, the way he screams that. They crossed an ocean of death to reclaim him. And then they call him the bringer of hope, giver of life.
Ooh, there's a nugget.
Which is interesting because from his perspective, he's like, I'm going to die. And from their perspective, they're like, our hero. And then they, tell him, welcome to the world of dead men. Your least favorite part. But the interesting part is that they talk about how he carried with him the water of life, and like, what do they say? They didn't treat it with care, careless and desperate. They dashed it to the ground. But this is the water in his body, and I think what they're saying is they killed the dude, and they're like, isn't there another way to get this water from him?
Yeah.
To cure them, and we'll get to that on the next song, But yeah, my favorite part is that outro thing where the guitar kind of like, it's like, I don't know, revving. It's like preparing to go crazy.
Yes.
And he's like, bring us back there to the source. Like that part where they say that over and over and over.
Yeah.
And eventually the guitar just goes nuts. And then it, outro of Welcome to the World of Dead Men.
Yeah.
With much more
really
distorted.
And just chaotic.
Yeah, yep.
Welcome to the world of dead men. Dead men. Welcome to the world of dead men. Dead men.
What are your thoughts? Like, what's your favorite part of the curse? That outro thing?
I think the outro is I do really like how you said when he comes in on that second verse, or I guess chorus, he descended like fire from the heavens, like a bolt of lightning from the sky. Love it. I think the song is, like you said, they do all the things. It's super dynamic vocally, and even though like the intro kind of bugs me. But I think you're kind of hit on the nail on the head with the Demon Hunter, the first album Demon Hunter.
It might be because I was thinking about Ryan Clark, that
it hit you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I could kind of see that. And just bare bones. You're right, just bare bones, and maybe that's why it just doesn't really feel like there's oomph behind it. But then there is.
Yeah.
than there is, and I love the outro so much.
All right. So that wraps up chapter 3. The last song is long enough that it has its own chapter, chapter 4, and it's called Rumors of Resurrection, and that last song is called The Sacrament. So to start with, this is an 8.5-minute song.
It's good, dude.
It's a very metal song, very dynamic, and I love how they do the, da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na. And so the story basically concludes. Are you ready for me to?
Bro, I'll drop my bombs on you in a second.
All right.
You conclude this story, and I'll drop some bombs right now.
All right, I'm excited. So the lyrics, this song basically ends with they killed our dude, and they're going to drink and consume his blood, the water from his body. They echo this go and reclaim the planet, blah, blah, blah. But basically they got his ship, they put the dude's body in the ship, and they found a way to hook up those veins that are hanging out of their bodies to the ship and get the dude's blood and life to flow into all of their bodies, purifying them, curing them of all their problems, right? Yeah. And not a single drop of his water or blood was wasted. Not a single drop wasted. Ooh.
Boy, that's a great lyric.
The ship closed when they were done and rose slowly into the clouds and completely vanished. That also sounds pretty familiar. And they're now clothed in his purity. A new day dawns, the past erased.
Da-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Yep. Life and death contended, and victory remained with life. These are words from the song. And it says, the ancient writing plainly says, death is swallowed up in death. Now its sting is lost forever. Pretty awesome lyrics. If you just take this for a sci-fi story, like, that's a pretty crazy story, right?
True. That is a metal sci-fi crazy story.
Yeah.
That is an allegory to the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, and it's so cool how it's done. It's so cool.
Yeah. So what are your bombs you're dropping on me, Tyler?
Some of these lyrics, and I was just like, I was sort of joking before we started that this might be the greatest song ever written, dude. This might be the greatest song of all time. Like, and I don't know, there's just so much perfect stuff to it. Like, when you're talking about, not even lyrically, but the way that it goes from chorus and it moves through, and it's like death growls and super crazy to rock, and all within just like a few lines, and it goes back and forth, and they do it so well. And it's like, man, this is a symphony of metal.
Yes.
Absolutely. This is a 8.5-minute perfect song. I'm not gonna lie, it's a perfect song.
Tyler, I'm beginning to think that you do like this album.
Did I already say my favorite song was The Calling?
You've said it about a lot of things. Are you wanting to change your answer again?
I'm changing my mind. My favorite song is The Sacrament. I think it's really well written. And like, I think the lyric that changed it for me, I gotta find it to make sure I don't misquote it. Oh, verse 3. Not a single drop reclaimed was wasted.
Not a single drop reclaimed was wasted. With the sacrament was finished. The capsule closed and began to rise. Here's the clouds and completely vanished.
talking perfect atonement here, Gary. We're getting deep, theological,
Yep.
allegorical references to the atonement. Like,
Yep.
I'm all in on that, and it's so cool. Just the pictures that are created in this story, and how it all points back to like the gospel. How creative, how great, how awesome. Ugh.
Yeah, you should hit up Jason and be like, "Yo, you did great." I think you did great too. I've been saying this whole episode, this story, the all-in-one thing is amazing.
Did I change my mind without knowing I changed my mind, but from the beginning?
What do you mean?
How did I start off this episode? Didn't I start?
You're like,
did I start off going in like, I don't know how I feel about this?
Yep. That's how it started. But we'll get your full conclusion at the end. But so there's two things that I really like in this song. One of them is that middle bridge. So the part where the ship ascends off into space and everyone's like, "Oh, there he goes," and it's like this super peaceful, like beautiful music. Right, and I feel like Becoming the Archetype has done this a few times. Like a Dichotomy, they have a piece like this on End of the Age when they're describing God's glory and power and stuff. Like it's like, oh, epic, and it just really gives you that feeling of like these people are at peace.
Yeah.
And I think in that they say, so when they went to kill him, they said they took his life in a jealous rage. He exposed their inadequacies and shined a light upon their failures. Unblemished flesh, a painful reminder. Though your failures bind you, this death will not define you.
Jeez, yeah.
Love that line, man. The way he does that. But yeah, great allegory, analogy, metaphor, whatever it is.
I do also really like when it talks about they laid his corpse inside the metal frame, connected tubes and wires to his lifeless veins. Like, I automatically looked, like, in my mind, pictured the Dichotomy cover art, like album art.
Well,
I just like
that's
everything being plugged
book.
in. Yes, I know, but like that's what my first thought was, you know. Like, I was like,
I pictured like Jesus on a metal spaceship cross,
just getting,
and, plugging in the veins. That's like the nails into his wrist.
And then the finishing spear. Yeah, I mean it is.
Yeah,
it's cool.
And the outro, super slow. You're cool with that? Takes like a minute and a half to end the song.
I have exhausted all of my energy by that moment, so I need it.
You're like, it's over. Yeah, that's like the part of the show where the credits are rolling and you're just like, oh my gosh, that was what an ending. Oh man.
Yeah, lights go on, you see all like the stuff on the floor, you're like, wow, all sweaty.
You gotta pee real bad because you've been sitting there listening to this album the whole time.
It's really 8.5 minutes for this song? I don't know if I can hold it.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, no, it's a really good song, and what a way to end an album. What a way to end a story.
Yeah.
The greatest story ever told in a different way.
Yep.
Cool, man.
Yeah, it's really great. He did a great job, and I hope they get a lot of attention for this because
they deserve it.
I feel like a lot of effort was put into the lyrics, and the way they write music is just so dynamic, and it's an adventure. It's good stuff.
And it's so hard for me to like, and I'm probably like other people too, like to fully just get on board. But like part of the journey, just even talking it out with you is like, this is a piece of art, man.
Yeah.
Like you can't, and as much as I want to just take it for the pieces of like tracks and just separate it, you can't. In the whole grand scheme of things, it's like, man, this is really cool.
You've said this at the beginning of the episode that you just didn't feel that good about it. It was just okay. That like you liked it, you don't love it.
Yeah.
And I've teased you probably like 4 or 5 times about like, I thought you didn't like it, and here we are, 8 songs in, 9 songs, 10 songs now, and you just have good things to say all the time.
I think I was worried I was gonna be negative on certain pieces of individual tracks.
Oh, the parts that I took and I was negative about?
No, I just felt like I wasn't looking forward to being negative, and it turns out like I wasn't as much, I guess. And maybe some of those things that not necessarily bother me, but maybe some of those things that make it hard for me to fully like dive in to Becoming the Archetype, like, do they fully even matter in the grand scheme of this album? I don't think so.
So album of the year?
I don't know if I'd go that far right now. What would I say that was better so far?
So there's been a few releases, and there's a few more coming. One that I think would be a good contender with this, which comes out tonight, and by the time you guys have heard this, I'm sure I'll be ranting and raving about it, is the Confessions of a Traitor album. I've been enjoying the singles, and I think that will give this a run for its money.
I mean, yeah, overall, I say this is up there. Gosh, what else has come out in 2022 that was killer?
You mean to give you some answers?
Yeah, I'll give you. So here's the game we're gonna play to end this. I will say yes or no to if those albums beat Children of the Great Extinction.
You probably haven't listened to some of these, but I'll just list some. So Trenches.
No.
Plead the Widow's Cause.
Ooh.
Tough one, huh?
As a whole album, I don't know if it compares.
Wow.
It does, but it doesn't, you know?
Sure.
Never mind. Okay, so we're okay. You got me with that a little
Wolves
bit.
at the Gate.
Nope.
Memphis May Fire.
No.
We got Norma Jean, yeah.
Bro.
Have you listened to that one much?
I haven't much, but are we coming to the realization that Children of the Great Extinction is my top album of 2022 so far?
Well, how about the new Emery? Have you listened to that one? Rub some dirt on it?
Yeah, I have, and it's pretty good, but I wouldn't say it's better than this.
Okay. How about Voluntary Mortification?
Nope. Devil Wears Prada comes out today.
So today we got The Devil Wears Prada and Confessions of a Traitor. And later this year, Fit for a King's dropping something.
Yeah.
What else do I got? Demon Hunter's dropping something.
Bro.
We Came as Bromans.
I started off by saying I might not like this album to like this could be my top album, dude.
Wow. What a turnaround.
Become the Archetype. That's what they do to you. The more you listen to them, the more you like them.
It's in the water.
I think they're the poster band for give them a chance. Like, don't stop. Everyone says, like, when you watch The Office, just get past the first season.
Yeah.
And you're going to be in it, And, like, I think if you listen to Become the Archetype a few times, the whole album, don't be a sinner like me and just go track by track and shuffle, right? Like, the whole album. I think what happens is you like it more every time. Where other albums, I listen to it and I like it less every time.
Yeah, and I think that has to do with how dynamic it is. You start to pay attention, like, oh, the second chorus, there's a different guitar.
Yeah.
Like, that's creepy. That's cool. Because in your head, you're remembering it one way. And then now you're hearing it, and it's like, wait, that's different. But yeah, I think this album deserves many playthroughs. And I think I'll probably be listening to it, for years to come. Just like, oh, this was a good album. I'll spin this and see what it's like now. But
absolutely, man.
So I guess that wraps up our episode.
Yeah.
So thanks everyone for listening. If you like what we're doing, become a patron. Buy us a cup of coffee. If you want to be part of the conversation, I'm on Discord all day long. There's a lot of people on there, and we got a lot of fun stuff going. We got bands on there. They share new stuff, give teasers of new merch that they're dropping soon. And we're on Instagram and Facebook. Message us, have a conversation, chat, hang out, whatever.
See ya. Bye.
Thank you for listening.